Practice today, worked a lot on red zone. It's something that's been a big emphasis for us in the off season. As we did a lot of our self-study, we were obviously really poor football team, a poor red zone football team last year, defensively, offensively, and certainly in the kicking game. Today was the first day that we really got a heavy dose of that. We got a lot of work to do in that area to continue to again be the type of team we want to be. But it was a good start today, and we'll continue to work that. We also spent a little bit more time on third down. That's going to be continued to be an emphasis for us here. Good practice. We got a lot of guys right now. Now that we're 4 days in installation-wise, we got some guys that are getting some things jumbled up a little bit in their heads, and they got to study. We got a lot of guys that have really taken ownership, and we got to have more guys take that ownership, take that accountability that we got to have to be the type of team. We really have a chance to be a good football team. We've got good players, and they prepared hard, but the weight you don't win games in the weight room or at a combine. You win them in between the lines, and you got to execute, and that comes from knowing what you're doing. So we got a ways to go. We don't play this weekend. We don't play today, but we got to be better Saturday than we are today. And hopefully tomorrow, these guys will come out here. The school will be over. It'll be behind them right now. They've been kind of balancing both of those finals today, finals tomorrow, and it'll be all ball for the next 2 weeks. And hopefully we can kind of get some of the distractions out of the way and really get everybody focused in on what we got to do and get them ready for the scrimmage, and then go back through some new repeat some of the installation. We'll get in a couple two-a-days. I think that's going to help some guys where we can have a little bit more teach time in the second practice. So, but again, I like the football team. I like their work ethic. They want to be good. But we just got a lot of guys that's got a lot to learn right now.
Is it too soon or too late to determine if maybe you need to tweak where you have some people?
No. We've had 4 days, and we're always evaluating constantly. We watch every play that goes on at practice, individual and team, and so it's evaluation every day. Mm-hmm. And so there's plenty of competition going on out there, and I think that once we get through tomorrow's first full pads day, and we'll have some real high intensity competitive situations out there. So I'm really anxious to get to tomorrow. It's really, to me, when camp starts in my mind. It's that last day of acclimatization. They get the finals behind them, and you really get them all day, every day, and I'm anxious to see how some of our big guys are going to respond in that environment tomorrow. Some of our young defensive linemen, young offensive linemen. We're constantly evaluating, and we'll do that continuously through camp.
What has Malachi shown you in the first 4 days, kind of a new role in being a starting guy?
Well, he's been outstanding. He's one of those guys we've talked about in our meetings that it's not that he's flipped the switch. It's not that easy, but he's just he's very focused, and he's one of those guys, a lot like Daquan. Going into last year, same thing. Daquan he wasn't a great freshman sophomore player. He was a good player, but he wasn't what he could be. And the challenge to him was, hey, listen, you got to become dominant, and here's what you got to do. And it's kind of that same thing with Malachi in the off season, and he's responded. And I was just talking to Kevin the other day about him. I mean, he so far has really been dialed in and focused and engaged. And part of that is, again, he's going to be a junior, and he's been, sometimes you have a couple of great players there together, and now all of a sudden he's having his opportunity for the big stage. And I like how he's responded so far. So hopefully he'll continue that. If we're going to be a great football team, he's going to have to be a very good player for us.
Any of those young linebackers jumped out at you yet?
Yeah, all of them. All 5 of them. I mean, they're exactly what we thought in the recruiting process. They're exactly what we evaluated, and you know, again, they're learning a lot, and you know, we're pushing them, and they're getting a lot of opportunity. And you know, I'll tell you this, it's a lot more fun to go watch Kevin's individual period. I mean, you know, last year we'd have coaches and managers and everybody having to work drills. He's got a lot of bodies over there, and they're good-looking guys. I mean, it's the right-looking group, and Kevin does a great job with them. But you know, I'm really pleased with all those young guys, and you know, our veterans. You know, Quandon is just having a great camp. Tig Willard, same thing. Carico's kind of that rock in there. So you know, and that's a blessing for us. We've got some really sharp guys that have had to develop to get to where they are, and then we've got some really talented young guys that you know, when we get them up to speed, are going to be able to help us.
How's your defensive backfield looking so far?
Good. You know, we've got you know, Meeks and Richard and Brewer and Cody. We've got some guys that have played a lot of snaps. Really pleased with Carlton Lewis. He's a guy that we're counting on to help us, and he's playing with a little bit more confidence, which is what we need from him. We got to get some significant time from him. You know, and the same thing over there at corner from a guy like Jenkins is playing a lot of nickel for us, but Darius Robinson, Peters is a guy that's just emerged. He's played corner. He's been playing a little safety. He's really done a good job. He's shown some good range at safety at this point. Rashad Breland, you know, so we've got a talented group. We've got a mixture of some veteran guys. It's kind of like every other position on our defense. You know, we've got some good frontline guys that have played a lot, and then it's talent, but young talent. And so it's going to be interesting.
Is McLean okay? Right guard?
Oh yeah. He's doing great. Doing really good.
His attention and weight are such that you're satisfied, or do you need more out of that?
Oh no. Antoine's had a great summer. He came in he's in great shape. He cramped up the first day when we went in the sweat box. You know, I almost cramped up too. But he's doing great, and we're very pleased with him. And, you know, I think he's one of those guys that kind of like Branch. I was talking about Branch a minute ago. I think he's one of those guys those seniors that is going to be a dominant player this year.
Going back to Malachi for just a second, he seems like a guy that maybe benefits a little more from more 3-4 looks. As you've gone to more of that, I guess in the spring and then here in the fall. Has it been any difference?
We played a ton of odd last year. You know, that's people talk about that like if you go and watch our film, we played a ton of odd front last year, and nobody really talks about it, but it's really, a lot of it's predicated on personnel and situations. You know, as much as anything, other people's personnel that they put on the field and situations in the game. But you know, he can play a true end, and he can play the 5 technique. I mean, he's very capable. He can play inside. He's got a big enough body to move in there. And you know, we did that with Daquan. Daquan was in a lot of different places, but you know, hopefully we're going to be a hard team to figure out this year. I think we've got more ability to really be the dynamic, flexible defense that we want to be. Whether it's 4-man front, 3-man front, you know, call it what you want, standing up a defensive end, whatever. But again, I think we've been a little limited in the last couple of years in what we could really do. Whereas this year, I think we're going to have more options.
You've talked about needing to have your quarterback be a factor to be accounted for by defenses running the ball. When you decided to put more of that on Taj, was there ever any concern about his ability to handle that aspect of it, or did you feel that was?
That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do it, because I know he can do it, and I know what kind of a weapon he'll be as far as, you know, running the football and being a good decision maker. I mean, he's doing a heck of a job for us, and you know, people are gonna have to defend him. That was probably one of the top 4 things on my checklist when I sat down and said, okay, this is what I want to do, and then it's okay. Let me figure out who I want to go after that's doing this type of thing. And but my thoughts were heavily weighed toward Taj, and I wanted our quarterback to be a factor. I want. He's like having, when your quarterback is a weapon, it's like playing with 12. And we just have not done a good job with that the last couple of years, here and there, but not like we will this year. And I think it's going to really help us neutralize some good players at ends and linebackers and things like that, because there's a lot of things that they gotta be very disciplined, and it's almost like defending the option as far as the kind of discipline you got to play on defense. When you got a guy like Ellington and some of these cats we got that can run coming downhill, and the quarterback is a factor. And then the other thing with Taj that people really don't know yet, that they're going to see, is he's going to make a lot of plays that aren't there. It just ain't a perfect game, and sometimes we're going to just have a zero up front, and the guys we're going to miss one or something, and we're going to have a bust. And, he's one of them guys that'll turn into 20 yards. He's 222 pounds and can really run. And out here in practice, tag and he's down. But in the game, you got to tackle that big joker. I really think he's gonna be a weapon for us, throwing the ball and running the ball.
Has Chad Deal